name is Leif Codiani. I am a principal engineer of the Unica support group. In this video, I am going to demonstrate using a REST API call to create a project and plan with custom attributes. This is a relatively basic task with a few moving parts and is a good introduction to the REST API functionality within the Unica suite. In this demonstration, I'll use a 12.1.04 system. However, the same API calls will also work on the 11x and 12x versions of the software. To complete these calls, we will need to get information from the system. I will be able to gather the data directly from the UI. As we will be creating a project via the REST API call, the first thing we will need to do is determine what project template we will create the project with. In our case, I will use the trade show template. In order to use it, we must know the template ID. In this case, is a lowercase trade show. Next, we will be customizing an attribute in our project. So we will need to know how to reference both the form and the attributes we wish to update. The form we will use is called API test form. The attributes we will use is text field, which internal attribute name is API text field, and number field with an internal name of API number field. Now that we have the needed data, we could go into Postman and set up our API calls. So we have the authenticate as always to get our token. I have three calls. I have REST API call to create a project with attribute string. Let me make this a little bigger. And with attribute string, with attribute integer, and with the string and integer attributes. To make things a little clearer, I have examples of each one of these calls. So this is the example of the creating a project with an attribute string attribute, if you will. It's a post call. This is the URL that we're calling. This is my machine, and the rest of it is the actual call itself. Now, these are the parameters we pass. Username, we're not using a password, and that's not required here. You may need to. These are the headers. The username, this is the token which we'll generate in a moment. And here's the body. So again, we have the template name, in this case trade show, and we have the form, API test form, and the attribute, API text field, and a value inserted by API. So I'm going to quickly go through the rest of them. Here's the same thing. All the values are the same. The only difference here is that we're accessing a different attribute, API number field, and we're giving it a value of 1000. Finally, I have the example where we update both the string and the attribute. The call itself is the same. All the parameters and headers are the same. The only difference is we're calling the number field, API number field, and the API string field from the same call. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that in the UI now in Postman. So the first thing we're going to do is get our token. We've done this before. So we have a token. Go ahead and copy that just to update each one of the calls. I'm going to update the header. Save that. Go to this one. Update the header. Save that. Do the same thing here. Okay, and save that. So the first thing we're going to do is create a project with an attribute of type string. And we could see the project name is going to be REST API test1. So let's make this call. So you can see we get the response, which is a link to the project, but we'll find it directly in the UI. So we'll go to Plan, Projects, and we will search REST API. So there it is. We'll look at this, and we'll go to the REST API tab, and we'll see text field inserted by API. Go back into Postman, and we're going to make the next call. Just going to do the same thing, but create a new project, and we'll see this one's called REST API test2. We'll check that out in the UI. Test2. You can see the field the number field has a value of 1000. And finally, we'll make the third call, which updates both fields on a project called REST API test3. And that was successful. Find that in the UI. And there we have it. Test3. Click. And you can see both fields are figured out. These are separate projects. Now we can see that we have used Postman to generate REST API calls, send the calls to the Plan application, and create custom attributes. Thank you.